Hello again, anatomists, and welcome to our first discussion of the study of tissues called histology, where we will focus on the epithelial tissues that line our body cavities and form our glands. In this lecture, we will cover the microscopic anatomy and location and function of the four basic tissue types, explain the naming system used to describe epithelial tissues, describe glandular epithelium, and the structure, function, and location of the four types of tissue membranes. Then we'll briefly touch on the major categories of connective, muscular, and nervous tissues. At the core of histology is the concept of a tissue. What is a tissue? Oftentimes you'll hear people say, well, it's a group of cells with a common function. That's not exactly true. A tissue is a living structure made up of, yes, cells, but also extracellular matrix, also known as cell products or biomolecules. We can divide tissues up into four categories: two primarily structural and two primarily functional. Epithelial tissue seals off boundaries to form barriers or linings of tract organs, or secretes things, forming glands or moistening our linings with mucus. Connective tissue, on the other hand, is a very diverse category of tissues that can't really be said to do the same thing everywhere and always. But the general theme is that connective tissues support, connect, and or protect other tissues. Functional tissue types include muscular tissue, which can contract to either produce or oppose movement or to control the size of something, and nervous tissue, which can receive, process, and transmit information via electrical signals. A detailed comparison of the four tissue types involves looking at five properties along with their locations and functions. The first property is called cellularity and talks about both the amount of a tissue that is cells and the type of cells that are found there. Epithelial tissues are pretty much 100% tightly packed cells. And the type of cells that you find there are called, not surprisingly, epithelial cells. So if you hear of someone having a cancer called an epithelioma, you know that those cells come from an epithelial tissue. The next type, connective tissues, have a very low cellularity, with a couple of exceptions. What we'll find when we study connective tissues in detail in the next unit or two is that they are not consistent about anything. There's an exception to just about every rule I'm going to give you here. They have very low cellularity, but they also have a variety of cell types. Muscular tissues are made almost entirely of muscle cells, which, as we mentioned before, are cells that are capable of contracting to change their size. And nervous tissues are made of neurons, cells that can carry electricity, and neuroglia, or simply glial cells. And neuroglia means nerve glue in Latin. So these are cells that kind of hold the nervous tissue together. What extracellular matrix do each of these have? Epithelial tissues, being nearly 100% cells, have a very thin basement membrane. Whereas connective tissues, having a fairly low cellularity, are, I'm going to use a technical term here, chock full of protein fibers and other matrix. Muscular tissues and nervous tissues have no extracellular matrix of their own. They have they're connected by connective tissue layers. How many blood vessels do each of these tissues have? Epithelial tissues have none. They get their with the exception, there's an exception everywhere, right? With the exception of uh, endothelial glands or endocrine glands, sorry. With the exception of endocrine glands, your hormone glands, epithelial tissues get all of their nutrients and secrete all of their products purely by diffusion from another neighboring tissue. Connective tissues, on the other hand, with, of course, an exception, are full of blood vessels. This is very helpful because connective tissues provide the blood supply for all the other tissues. Innervation talks about how many nerve connections each tissue has. Epithelial tissue has typically a high number of nerve endings, both nerves that sense what's going on in the epithelial tissue and nerves that provide signals to the epithelial tissues, for example, to tell them to secrete more sweat or to secrete saliva when you're about to have a meal. Connective tissues, on the other hand, typically um, the nerves pass through these structures. We don't have a lot of sensory input from our cartilage, for example. Um, though we do have some. I mean, obviously, if you damage a cartilage or a bone, you can feel it. Um, so you know there are some sensory endings. Muscular tissues, on the other hand, highly innervated in most cases by what we call motor neurons. Those are neurons that send signals uh, the to the muscles or to the glands or to any other kind of active tissue, telling it when to do its thing. And finally, nerve cells. I mean, obviously, nerves are uh, the things that provide innervation to other tissues. So, to ask how innervated nervous tissue is kind of a silly question. And then the last question we have, as far as properties of tissues that vary between the types, is regeneration. Epithelial cells regenerate quickly. They have built in stem cells that are constantly dividing. And so if you damage some of your your epithelial cells or endothelial cells, which is a special type of epithelium, if you damage your epithelial cells, they get replaced very quickly by new cells that are just provided by those stem cells. Connective tissues regenerate slowly. If you've ever broken a bone, you know that we're not talking about a couple of days. We're talking about a couple of weeks to a couple of months before that bone has regenerated to the point where you can use it fully. And it may take even years before that bone really looks like it did before, as far as remodeling that tissue into healthy bone. Muscular tissue grows black slow, if at all, and that's the same for nervous tissue. If you lose some nerves, some peripheral nerves, and some muscle tissue can be replaced over time, but it's a very, very slow process. Okay, much more slowly than connective tissue, even. So, but if you damage other nervous tissue, like the spinal cord, for example, it's unlikely to ever grow back at all. And cardiac muscle is similar to that, there are really no stem cells located within the heart wall that can replace a lost muscle cell. So if you have a partial heart attack and some of your heart muscle dies, it's basically gone. And you have to live with a lower amount of heart function for the rest of your life. Oh, I forgot the locations and functions. Sorry. Where do we find each of these tissues? Epithelial tissues are found in barrier membranes and glands. Connective tissues are found in, they're the main structural element of many organs. And they also are found in, they are the entire structure of bones and cartilage. Pretty much the entire skeleton is connective tissue. Muscular tissue, found in muscles, of course, also found in the heart wall, also found in walls of what we might call hollow organs, those that need the ability to change their size and so have smooth muscle layers that can adjust their size. Nervous tissue is found in the brain and spinal cord, obviously, and then perhaps even more obviously in the nerves. But it also sometimes surprises people to find that it is nervous tissue that is found in our sense organs. So eyes, ears, taste buds, all made of nervous tissue. What do they do? Functions? Epithelial tissues secrete things. They selectively absorb things. And sometimes they block things. Okay. Connective tissues obviously connect things. That's how they get their name. But they also provide support. They transport in some cases and store in other cases essential minerals and nutrients and things. And they host part of the immune system. Muscular cell tissues, what do? They contract to to move, to support your other organs and your posture, to pump blood, obviously, in the heart, and to constrict blood vessels and breathing passages and parts of your digestive organs and such. And then what do nerve cells do? They carry, process, and store information. That is, they handle your senses, they handle your memory, and they handle your processing, your ability to respond to what your senses tell your body.